What's going on, Dopealopers? It's your boy Dopealope coming at you with the new video. So we're gonna do some stuff on the NBA today. So we have the Atlantic Conference. We have Boston. The Celtics have come out roaring this year, and everybody thought, wow, they're gonna be really good with Kyrie Irving and Gordon Hayward. Gordon Hayward got hurt in the first game of the season, so everyone was like, it might not end well because Boston lost that game to Cleveland. But it turned out to be pretty good so far. They're 34-10. The Toronto Raptors, you may not have heard, but Kyle Lowry has been hurt lately, and that's not good because he's one of their two playmakers besides DeMar DeRozan. And although they've still been doing all right, they're 28-11. Next, we had the Philadelphia 76ers. They played Boston in London today. They lost that game. Philadelphia is now 19-20, which, if you look back on their former seasons, that's very good for them. Almost 500. And I applaud them for that. But they're still 19-20, which doesn't give them a playoff spot, sadly. Next, we have the New York Knicks. And, with Carmelo leaving, it's all up to Kristaps Porzingis. That's how you say his name. I still don't know. He's been doing all right. He's definitely the leader of the team, and he's been doing an okay job, I'd say. They're 19-22, which, again, for the Knicks is not bad, I'd say, but could have some improvement with Carmelo leaving for OKC. That's sort of what they expected. Not so good record, but I hope that they'll do better in sort of the second half of the season, which we're heading up to. And then the Brooklyn Nets in that division. The Nets are 15-26. In the Central Division, we have the Cleveland Cavaliers. They are 26-14, and LeBron's been leading them pretty well, I'd say, being the number one in their conference. He's been doing okay. It's not one of their normal seasons when they're leading the whole NBA and things, but 26-14 is enough to get into the playoffs. And that's all you need to do. Get in, and you can win. So Cleveland's 26-14. LeBron's been leading, as always. The Milwaukee Bucks, my favorite team. They're 22-18, second in the Central Division. I love Giannis Antetokounmpo. I love the way he plays. It's so good. His dunking ability is crazy. His handles, he could play all positions just like LeBron. And he was even leading in All-Star fan voting. So I applaud him for that too. So, the Detroit Pistons. Better than they normally are, I'd say. Andre Drummond, rebounder guy, if you aren't that big of an NBA person. But they're doing all right, I'd say. They're third in the Central Division, although they're tied with Milwaukee. But Milwaukee is the tiebreaker, so they are 22-18 as well. Indiana Pacers. So right now they have the last playoff spot. I guess 21-20 is enough to get into the playoffs. I don't think they'll beat Boston or anything, but you never know. Stuff happens, right? So they're 21-20, and they got Victor Oladipo leading them and everything. And the Chicago Bulls, I liked them for a while with Derrick Rose and everything, Jimmy Butler, but everyone's gone, so you can't expect much from them. So, normally the West is better than the East, but right now, this season, the East is much better than the West. Sorry. The Heat are number one in the Southeast Division, which I think is good. I think they have the power to do pretty well. They're 24-17, led by Hassan Whiteside, another rebounder guy if you don't follow the NBA so much. The Washington Wizards are 23-18, so they're right behind Miami. John Wall, Bradley Beal, great players right there, great duo. Marcin Gortat, good big man. Charlotte Hornets, seeing that division, it's like two teams are good, the rest are horrible. The Hornets, right? Yeah, they're the Hornets. Yeah, the Charlotte Hornets are 15-24. This is when the division starts to go bad. Kemba Walker's good. Dwight Howard's, he's alright. Orlando Magic, 12-30. Atlanta Hawks, 11-30. So the West, we have the Golden State Warriors, probably in the easiest division in the NBA. They're 33-9. They're followed by four horrible teams. The Clippers, who don't even have a playoff spot, they're 19-21. Which I guess you could say, oh, they're close to 500. Oh, good. That's not good enough. The Phoenix Suns, 16-26. I like the Suns. I like Devin Booker and stuff, but they aren't good enough yet. The Lakers, 13-27. Most of the Laker news nowadays is just about Lonzo Ball and his daddy, LeVar. And the Sacramento Kings, I don't even know who's on the Kings anymore. They're 13-27, so good enough. No, it's not. It's not good enough. They stink. They're 13-27. Well, that ends the Pacific Division. The Southwest Division, we have the Houston Rockets, number 2 in the West, and they are 29-11. James Harden, great player. I just want you to imagine something. The old Oklahoma City Thunder with James Harden, Kevin Durant, and Russell Westbrook, they would be unstoppable nowadays. That would be a crazy team. Although people think, oh well, OKC has the big three now. No, they don't. They had the old big three that was so good. Could have been unstoppable now, but then James Harden left and then Kevin Durant's gone. And that's Houston. So the Spurs are next. They're 28-14, so they're right behind the Rockets. Popovich leading the team like always. Manu Ginobili, LaMarcus Aldridge. I don't even know if Tony Parker's still on the team. And they're 28-14, so that's good enough. They should be in the playoffs easily. They don't win nowadays, but because it's always Golden State Warriors, Cleveland Cavaliers. It's 3 years in a row. Now we have the Pelicans. They're even 500. They're 20-20. I'll give it to them. They got a decent team. Anthony Davis, DeMarcus Cousins. Those are probably the best two big men on the same team. And they're 20-20. The Mavericks, 15-28. I like to see the Mavericks play occasionally if I'm watching. I like the way they play, but I don't like their record. The Grizzlies, Mike Conley, can't even remember. Is he hurt? I don't know. He has like the biggest contract, or he did, but not anymore. I don't think. So they're 13-27. The Timberwolves, they're doing pretty well. They're outshining OKC and Portland. They got Jimmy Butler. Karl Anthony Towns, he's a very good player overall, and Andrew Wiggins. It's another big three in that division. The Trailblazers, Damian Lillard is all you have to say. They're 22-19. OKC, the Thunder, Paul George, Russell Westbrook, Carmelo Anthony, and Steve Adams. You have good players, but the record doesn't match those good players. They're 22-20. That's not good enough for having the good players that you have. Russell Westbrook and Paul George alone should give you a record that's like 30-10 or something. Something much better than 22-20, because that shouldn't happen with a team that's as good as that team should be. The Denver Nuggets are 21-20. I don't know much about the Nuggets, so that's why I stopped saying things about them. The Utah Jazz, 17-24. Gordon Hayward's off the Jazz, so I don't know much about them anymore. And yeah, so that's the NBA so far. I will give you an update later in the season, and I'll do stuff on them in the playoffs. Same with the NHL. I might come out with an NHL video later. But that's all for the NBA so far. So if you have any questions, leave them down below. And if you think I should make an app or a website, comment that down below, because I'd like to know your opinions. So, yep, comment, like, subscribe, and that's it. Thanks, Dopealopers. See you in the next video.